Okay, well, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, depending on which part of the world you're in. Thank you all for joining. That's our 7th virtual layer-fMRI dinner, and today's theme is going to be translational application of layer-fMRI. I'm going to give a very brief introduction, so you're not going to be stuck with me for too long, and then I'll leave the floor to Tyler, who's going to introduce the speaker and moderate the session. So just a reminder of our channels and ways to interact. We would like this to be like an interactive community, as interactive as possible. There's several ways to reach out. There's the layer-fMRI YouTube channel hosted by Renzo. And we strongly encourage any one of you guys at any stage of your career to reach out if you want to initiate or organize any of these layers. You're most welcome. That's how we envision this to be. So please do reach out. And then just going to be a very brief introduction about today's topic and why it's important. So we know that over the last 15 years or so, the number of 7 Tesla scanners in the world has dramatically increased. And now we count around 130, 140 7 Tesla scanner. At this resolution, at this field strength, as we all know, it becomes relatively routinely possible to achieve sub-millimeter resolution, which then allows to image the human neurofunctional organization at the mesoscopic scale, targeting some of the most fundamental units of neural computation like layers and columns. And while the most number of layer-fMRI studies use 7 Tesla scanners, there's also a number of groups that are starting to successfully use lower field strength like 3T to achieve sub-millimeter resolution study layers in humans. Now, obviously, 0.8, which is the most typical resolution implemented for layer-fMRI, were highly SNR starved, and there's still a number of like an open question like what's the optimal acquisition strategy, if there even is an optimal acquisition strategy, revolving around the specificity versus sensitivity debate, and also what is the ideal resolution to image layers? Is there a limit to the functional resolution, nominal versus functional resolution, and what is the impact of the resolution in separating the subtle responses across cortical depths or layers? Nonetheless, over the last 20 years, we've seen an exponential increase in the number of papers published in the layer-fMRI field, and more recently, we've been seeing a switch between like validation studies to application studies, and only to basic neuroscience, but also to translational neuroscience, even though those are just like a handful of studies. And that's what the topic of today's dinner is: translation application to layer-fMRI. And we are lucky enough that we've managed to coerce these 3 great speakers to show some of their most recent results. So these are Esther Kuhn, Hust Harsma, and sorry if I'm butchering the names, and Jun Hua. And yeah, I'm leaving the floor to Tyler to introduce the speakers and moderate the session.